What is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets and is used to decorate and style your website. Picture this. You finish building your own house and you realize that it looks plain and just simple. It doesn't have no features, additional flooring or any parts of the house that's needed. And decided, you know what? Let's include the decorations. What I mean by is to include all the furnitures, to design the house, to paint all around the house with the original color and tile it up to make sure the house looks modern and realistic. And realistically, this is what CSS is about. Designing, not only designing, but styling out your web page to make sure all the colors, the layout looks neat. Every code editor must always end with .css. Simply put, if you want to link out your CSS file, you would be able to create your URL link in your header tag and name it as style.css. This is known as external CSS, where it's used to link out the document from the HTML web page. And by far it's the most usable tool out there when you're building applications and websites. In CSS, you have selectors and attributes. Selectors is where you select one element, for example, H1, into the CSS style. And attributes is where you specify when you're styling. I forgot to mention that you can style with the class and ID when selecting the elements. I was mentioning about external CSS, where external CSS is more useful than inline CSS, or internal CSS, it avoids conflict and it styles one attribute into that file. There are really two big categories in CSS, which are layout and color. Color is simply background color and text. You can find the colors where search out hex color picker and select any hexadecimal colors that you prefer, pink, blue, orange, and just copy and paste. Simple. Speaking of text, you have font family, font size, and font weight. Font family, popular choices are sans serif and monospace. Font weight are just increasing the text from big to small using pixels. Font weight defines the thickness of the text to see if it's thick or thin. There are four attributes in layout, which are padding, margin, border, and position. Okay, so I'm on my inspect element. This is the content and padding, border, margin. Content is where it's inside, where it includes the height and the width. So the padding is outside of the border. Sorry, inside of the border, just there. And border is just on top of the content, and margin is the main part. That's simple. So let's say if I can make changes, call it 100%, then it shows the content of the width. So I changed this to 20 pixels. As you can see here, the width it changed. The padding top, call it 20. Then what it does is just change the padding on top of it instead of 10, but then 20. Padding is just outside of the content. You have the pseudo classes in CSS as a part of the attribute, which also ends with colons. Mainly for pseudo classes, you use to hover your mouse with your cursor to click on buttons and links. There's so many pseudo classes that's recommended, but this is the most popular one that I can find. Another cool attribute to use is box shadow, which I personally use for my applications. Simply search box shadow generator and just play around with it, increase it up and down with the width and height, and then copy the ones that is in the code, all of those attributes to include. You can even create animations with the keyframe property. Just search out animation generator and play around with it and find the ones that's really cool and add it into your code. Lastly, we have media queries in CSS. Media queries in CSS is used for mobile responsiveness and can be used in different screen size. Simply put, if you want to define the screen size, you would go to inspect element. You can even play around with the height and the width and drag through the screen to see the responsive layout. If you want to create your own media query, you can go to VS Code, call the media query. Similarly to an if statement, you're defining out the height and the width to see if the height is the same as the mobile responsive layout. And if it is, you would of course increase the height and change different color or different layout. This is 5-minute CSS completed and wrapped up. Let me know in the comments if I missed any important attributes that I haven't covered. If you're new, please like, subscribe, turn your notification bell so you don't miss a video. This is your boy Soft Sen. I'll catch you in a bit. Take care.